Yeah, my name is Cindy Taff. I'm the CEO of Sage Geosystems, and we are at Southwest Research Institute in San Antonio. So EarthStore is our energy storage solution. It's very much like pumped hydro, but it's upside down. So one of the reservoirs is deep in the earth, where you store the water under pressure. And when the demand for electricity peaks or increases, you're able to release that water from the fracture. The fracture will close on the water and jettison the water back to surface. You put it through a Pelton turbine, very much like pumped hydro storage, and then the Pelton turbine spins a generator and you generate electricity. Yeah, so for energy storage, the fluid that we're using downhole is pure water. We can use different types of water if needed, seawater. We can use oil and gas produced water. If we use seawater or oil and gas produced water, the only thing that we would have to consider is the metallurgy of the equipment that we're using on surface. When we cycle the water into the well to be stored, we did a pilot demonstration last year and we measured the water losses from that storage. Water losses consist of evaporation as well as some leak off into the formation, but the water losses are very small. They're 2% or less, and actually as you cycle into that well, you tend to build a pressure wall in the well, and then the water losses actually decrease. So when we did our pilot last year, we had 2% at the beginning of 5 weeks, and at the end of the 5 weeks, our water losses were 1%. So our energy storage is very similar to batteries. So you can pair our energy storage with an intermittent renewable such as wind and solar. You can move wind energy from the night where the demand might be low to the day when the demand is higher. You can pair it with solar and you can turn solar into 24/7 generation. So it serves to stabilize the utility grid because you are pairing it with these intermittent renewable energies. So the depth and the types of formations that we're targeting. So we're targeting a low permeability formation at depths between 2.5 kilometers and 4 kilometers. I understand that there's a major water source in Australia at around 2 kilometers. We would be well below that water source, and that water source would be protected with a dedicated casing string and cement to make sure that that water source is protected, and then we would be at least a kilometer below that water source. So as far as the drilling technology we use for these energy storage wells, it's drilling technology that's been used in the oil and gas industry for many, many years. These depths that we're targeting of 2.5 to 4 kilometers are actually very vanilla wells for the oil and gas industry. So no new technology is needed, and I would say that actually the technology and the well design that we use are all very proven already by the oil and gas industry to protect groundwater and to make sure that the well integrity is safe as well. So as far as the economics for energy storage, let me give you an example. If you take our energy storage and you pair it with solar, so solar produces 7, 8, 9 hours a day, and then our energy storage will produce the remainder of the 24 hours in the day. We've done some modeling on levelized cost of energy, and assuming 2 cents a kilowatt hour for solar and the cost of our storage, that blended levelized cost of energy for that 24-hour, 7-day-a-week generation is 5 cents a kilowatt in US dollars. So in addition to energy storage, the other exciting project that we're working on is geothermal. So we use some of the same technologies in geothermal that we do use in energy storage, except now you are deeper in hot rock and you're using a slightly different power plant. In this case, either an organic Rankine cycle turbine or the supercritical CO2 turbine that we've developed here at Southwest Research Institute. What we're excited about is that we can make geothermal more applicable because what we're going after is heat in the rock, but we don't need the large volumes of water that you would see around a volcano or a ring of fire. So we can basically do geothermal in more places than just those limited geological circumstances around a volcano or a ring of fire. We have built a supercritical CO2 turbine here at Southwest Research Institute for geothermal. So we're very excited about it because the equipment is going to be smaller and less expensive to build, and the amount of electricity that you get out of the turbine per unit heat that you put into it is going to be much greater. But I do want to emphasize that the fluid that we're using downhole to harvest the heat from the earth is water. The water then comes to the surface, goes through a heat exchanger, and then it heats the CO2, which is in a closed-loop system in the power plant. So the CO2 is not pumped down whole. It stays in a small volume in the power plant at the surface. So the economics for geothermal, if we're looking at pre-scale and levelized cost of energy again, is about 9 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, if we're able to scale to 50 megawatts, we can drive that cost down through performance improvements, supply chain improvements, to about a cost of about 6 cents a kilowatt hour. Again, that's all in US dollars.